שמש דקה ומרפא בכנפיה.
Now, is Boaz not our relative with whose young women you were? See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash yourself, anoint yourself, put on your festive garment, and then go down to the threshing floor. Do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking, and when he lies down, remember the place where he lies. Go, uncover his feet and lie down, and then will he tell you what to do. And she answered, Okay, all you say to me I will do. Now, first of all, keeping in mind the prophetic level we want to read the book scroll of Ruth in, we see that what Ruth says to Naomi actually is the same what Jesus said to his disciples. He said to his disciples, in the seat of Moses sat the scribes and the Pharisees, the Orthodox Jews, the rabbis. And then Jesus says, everything they tell you, practice and preserve. I know that he's then going on and say, but not the works they do, because they preach, but do not do it. But first of all, Yeshua's command is to listen to them, and everything they do, they say, you do. They don't do it themselves, so don't look at that. And that's what he criticizes afterwards. But the question now is, if we look at Ruth and Naomi, did Ruth really do everything? Also in regard to the ambiguities and the morally questionable things? Did she just obey? I mean, Naomi's plan really put Ruth in a very difficult situation. She, as a Moabitess, had worked hard to get a good reputation, and all this actually Naomi puts in jeopardy. She puts it into question. It says then in verse 6, so Ruth went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law commanded her. And it is rabbinical commentators who observe that Ruth changed something. She didn't do exactly what Naomi had commanded her. It's in the Talmud that Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, whom we quoted for several times here now already, he says Naomi had originally commanded her, wash yourself, anoint yourself, put on your clothes, and only then go down to the threshing floor. But Ruth did not do that. She said to herself, if I go down to the threshing floor and everybody sees me how I'm put on my cosmetics, how I ornamented myself, they will say, oh, we always said that about Ruth the Moabitess, that she is a prostitute. And that's why Ruth went down to the threshing floor first, and only then did she decorate herself as her mother-in-law had commanded. So Naomi told Ruth, take a bath, anoint yourself, put on your dress, and then go down. But what Ruth did, just to be clear, she went down first to the threshing floor and then did everything all her mother told her to do. The Babylonian Talmud at this point sees scripture as a background. Proverbs 9 verse 9, where the wise King Solomon says, give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. And Rabbi Elazar says this is exactly what Ruth the Moabitess did. Whereas Naomi had told her, wash yourself, anoint yourself, put your garment on, and then go down to the threshing floor, she said to herself, no, I will first go down and then do all the other stuff. So if we look into scripture, and I think this is a very important principle, scripture does not ask us for blind, stupid, cadaver obedience. Silently, bluntly, without thinking, without conscience, simply following orders, so that later when we are called to account, we may say, oh, I just did what I was told. I just followed orders. Scripture seeks our obedience, but in a wise way. It is seriously thinking about structures that God gives. Listen carefully, and then understand what He wants to tell us. And then in the fear of the Lord, out of a living relationship with the Father in heaven, do exactly as He ordered. And therefore, the text that Talmud quotes here, it's Proverbs 9, verse 10 continues, the beginning of wisdom is always the fear of the Lord.